finally? Okay, because I tried to go live a few seconds ago and it wasn't working. So come on there. Hopefully let y'all know I'm coming in. Come on there. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Ooh, ooh. Say what's up in the comments if you guys can hear me, so we can make sure that everything is going good. I got my comment section going so that we can actually discuss today. I got it up and nice and running so I can see it. So put a number, put a hey, put a what's up, put an emoji, put something in the chat if you can hear me, or put something in the chat if you can't, so I can know that everything is going smoothly. I see a first in the sections, but can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me in the live, y'all. This is the chat. This is the cookout. This is the cousin situation going on. Okay. You can hear me. Let's let a few more people get in, hopefully, because this was a spur of the moment thing. I am eating Blue Diamond salt and vinegar almonds, which are so good. I don't even like almonds like that, but I eat them because they're supposed to be good for you. But come on in, y'all. So if this is your first time catching a live stream or catching a live, basically these lives are something that I decided that I wanted to do a couple of times a week, even if you can't catch the replay. Just coming in, checking in with you guys, being live, giving you guys the opportunity to chat with me. So if you are coming into the live chat, go ahead and say what's up, because the live chat is turned on so I can see it. But basically just, you know, coming in, catching up with you guys, because I have been gone for, you know, a few months, just kind of taking time for myself. And so basically we're going to, hey cousin, hey Cam Yonsei. We're going to be talking about, you know, stuff that's going on in the week, and, you know, stuff that is interesting, hot topics, stuff that's been popped up with me, stuff that I feel like, you know, you guys would enjoy talking about. But also, hey AJ, hey Amara. Also, just trying to begin every live on a positive note, but most importantly, end the live on a positive note, because it is a lot of things going on in the world right now. Honestly, it feels like the stuff that's been going on in the world ain't never stopped, but it's a lot going on in the world right now. And I feel like, you know, we should have places where we can just relax, exhale, talk, chit chat it out. Hey Chandra, and, you know, just relax, relate, release. Okay. So, yeah. First things first, I did my makeup for this live just because I had started, you know how you start doing your eyebrows and then you got to put a little concealer on, then you got to put a little skin tint on, then you got to put a little mascara on. So that's what happened. But I have been dealing with maskne. If any of y'all have been dealing with maskne over the pandemic, I truly feel you, because I have not. I have not dealt with maskne over the pandemic, just because and I brought the different ones to show y'all. The disposable masks don't break me out. I do know that they break some people out, and a lot of people were experiencing maskne, but these have been working for me all pandemic long. Just going to the store, you know, going out for a quick outing, maybe going to a restaurant, going out to Venice Beach, yada, yada, yada. These have been working fine, but since the gyms have been opening up, you know, gyms are opening, a whole bunch of things are opening. However, you still have to be masked up in the gym, and it's still social distancing and all that good stuff. And especially with people getting vaxxed and waxed in this season, more things are opening up, and these have been tearing my skin up. And initially I thought it was something that I was eating, because my skin is very sensitive, and I do have skin reactions to dairy, chocolate, which have a whole bunch of dairy in it. and grease, basically a whole bunch of greasy food. So I was trying to like look into the foods that I was eating, and it really, my diet really hadn't changed. And then I realized, oh, this is what everybody is talking about when they be talking about maskne, where you get like little breakouts around your chin, and where your mask is from pulling your mask on and off. And so doing a little research, you know, like I say, if I can put you on, let me put you on. If you are experiencing maskne, or if that's something you've been getting breakouts around your chin and you just really can't figure out what it is, because chin breakouts can be indicative of something else. But a lot of people are experiencing in the pandemic, and it's due to the mask. So doing a little research, it actually has to do with the disposable masks. For some reason, the disposable masks are making people more prone to having maskne versus the cotton ones. And so if you guys remember early in the pandemic, probably around, I would say June-ish, I got into making my own mask. And so this one is actually one that I made myself. It's just like the 3 pleated mask. And y'all may remember, because I did like the little reels and the TikToks on them, and this has like the filter opening for them. And so I had got like into sewing, and I had got a sewing machine and all this fabric and things like that. And then I stopped, and I was like excited about it because it was something that I felt like I could give to the community. And I was making masks for like my first responder family members and friends and things like that. So I was really excited because I was making them. It was a little hobby and things like that. It wasn't anything that I was wanting to sell or anything like that. And I stopped wearing these because they just was so dang hot. Like, for me, I can't breathe as well, especially working out. I breathe a lot better in the little thin disposable ones. That's probably why they're not what is it, N95 regulated or whatever, than I did in stuff like this. And I did find some thinner mask material, and I'll probably go back to making them now, just because after doing a little research, cotton is so much better for your skin if you are experiencing maskne. So give it a try. If you are experiencing maskne, look into switching to a cotton-based mask, or even I heard satin works really good. But again, that seems like it gets extremely hot. But I was experiencing maskne really bad last week and the beginning of this week. And then after doing some research, I switched to my cotton mask, and it pretty much started to immediately clear up. So there you go, girl. Get you some cotton mask, okay? And a lot of y'all had asked me to do a video on how I was creating my mask, and I may do that now that I'm going back into it. I may do like a vlog type video, because obviously I'll have to go get some fabric, and I love going to the fashion district and the fabric district here in LA. Hey, cousins. I'll answer that in just a second, but I really like doing that. So I may vlog just a trip to the fabric district on how I choose my fabric for my mask, because now, basically a year later, I have realized the do's and don'ts, you know, positives and things like that. So I'll do that. Chandra asked what skin tint I'm using. Why did you ask me that, girl? Because I know what I'm using, but now I can't think of it. It is a skin tint by NYX. It's a skin tint by NYX. It is in the pink bottle, and I discovered it 2 years ago when I went to a NYX event with Raina, Happy Girl, Happy Curl, and I have been hooked on it ever since, because it is a great lightweight medium coverage skin tint. So it's not a full coverage foundation or anything by any means, but of course there are tips and tricks that you can use when applying skin tint that you get pretty full coverage, because all I have on my face is some skin tint and then some setting powder, so that I wouldn't be oily. I don't have no like concealer or anything like that on at all. So, and if y'all have seen my skin without makeup, I don't have like perfectly clear, unhyperpigmented, if that ain't a word, but skin. So it's really good, and I will put the information, I'll come back and put the information in the comments after the live is, so y'all will have it. Hey cousin, hey Jay Johnson. So I also, you guys know, if you caught my last lives, in the beginning of every live, like I said, I want to start, before we get into the ridiculousness, foolishness of it all. First of all, hey, all the cousins coming in. I see y'all coming in. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up button and say what's up in the comment section. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I want to start all the lives out with, something positive before we get to the foolishness. And then end with something positive. I told you guys, currently I am reading The Marathon Don't Stop by Rob Kenner, which is on the life and times of Nipsey Hussle. And I gave you guys a quote from this book last week, but I think, and I've still been reading it, and truthfully, my reading has been a little slow lately because I've been so into my fitness journey and I need to get better. But I feel like I wanted to share this one again because it's pretty timely to what we're going to talk about later on, which is just like grind culture and the grind hustle. This book is really good. I'm currently, it has been telling me so much stuff that I didn't know just about the beginnings of quote unquote gang culture and like the starting of the Crips, which you guys know Nipsey Hussle was a Crip. That's why we do the Nipsey Blue and stuff like that. But this book dives in even before Nipsey, just the development of these gangs now from where they were stemming from, which stemmed from protection of our Black communities from, there was a word they used, but essentially white supremacy. It all boils down to white supremacy, okay? And so, of course, a lot of the stigma and the things around gangs have shifted and changed over the years, but just really interesting. And I'm going to say this again in this live. If you are looking for a book to read, The Marathon Don't Stop by Rob Kenner so far has been a great read, but it's also very, it's been very educational. So that's that. But if you, Debbie, let's not and say that we did, okay? That's y'all cousin. She got to fuss at everybody who walk in the hallway. But with the grind culture, I feel like when you think of like the hustle and the grind, you think of Nipsey Hussle. And like he has been a motivator, the marathon don't stop. He has been a motivator for not only me, but a lot of people on just really getting your hustle and grind up. Like literally hustle is in his name. And for somebody like me who's a Taurus who can have a tendency for certain things, if I'm being harsh with myself, I'll say lazy. But if I'm being realistic with myself, and like just being really careful with the way the things that we speak over ourselves as a Taurus, I can say personally that it does take me a while. It may take me a while to get motivated to do something. Like it literally, like I can see somebody doing something. It's like, oh yeah, that's nice, but that don't really motivate me to move. I kind of like dig my heels in the ground on certain things. People can call it stubborn or whatever. But truthfully, truth be told, and I talked about this over on Instagram, not that y'all see it because everything on my Instagram has been suppressed for a while, but just the notion of I have just been the type to just don't worry about a lot of stuff. And it has been called a whole bunch of things over the years. So Nipsey Hussle, but for me, it takes me a while, but once I get going, and anybody will tell you this, once I am laser focused on something, then I'm like a bull full steam ahead, like charging full steam ahead. But it can take a while to get there. So stories like Nipsey Hussle really motivate me, and people like Nipsey Hussle really motivate me to kind of like step out of that like just kind of slow to move type of situation. And instead of like, because also a characteristic of that is when you full steam ahead, eventually you lose steam. And so I have been really working on myself getting to a place where I am at like a constant motion, even if that motion is a little slower than I'm used to, being in constant motion versus being in either stop mode or full steam ahead mode. And I feel like maybe somewhere along the way, and maybe this was his message, or maybe that is what most people take from it, but the biggest thing that I have been taking from it in my life as the marathon continues, for me, and I am a runner, something that I do apply. There was years and years ago where I was training for a marathon, and it's not like you immediately start training by trying to run those full 26.2 or however many miles that you're trying to run for a marathon. you slowly build yourself up to that so that you are constantly moving. And that's what I'm taking from it. Like, because this whole grind culture, baby, like will wear you out. Like, especially if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner. Hey, cousins, if y'all are coming in. Hey, Alexis. Hey, Trina. Especially if you are somebody who are working for yourself or who are moving towards working for yourself, or even if you don't, even if you are doing both, because I did both. Don't get it twisted, for a very long time. Your girl had all of 3 jobs and a YouTube channel at one point. So at any stage that you're from, just any stage of your journey that you're in, just understanding like everything on social media, you know, about sleep when you dead and all that, like, and grind, hustle, do this. It really can put the wrong notion in your head, not only on what a journey or building your brand, your platform, your business is supposed to look like, but also, again, when I say from as a believer, like everything that I'm coming from comes from somebody who believes in God. So coming from somebody who is a believer, that also just is very dangerous, because my faith is hemmed and stemmed on there are things that I cannot do and that only God can do. And so the grind mentality, or the hustle mentality, I unknowingly adopted it when I became a full-time entrepreneur. And, you know, that does not go in line with understanding that there are only some things that God can do. So that is what I want to pour into you first and foremost. And I was talking about that. And I have seen on live streams where you can add stuff to the screen, and I'm going to learn how to do that one day, because it'd be stuff that I want to actually show y'all and put on the screen that I can't. Because some of this stuff I be feeling like it need visual aids to it and stuff, but I don't know how to do that right now, because y'all know I just been live streaming for 7 days. So there's that. But when I started to discover that, I also in the mornings, as a part of my morning routine, I try to listen to some praise and worship, and I'll either listen to a podcast or some speech or a sermon or something along the lines of the things that I am wanting to learn right now. And I was listening to Gary V's podcast, and it was an old podcast, but it was like one of the top ones when I clicked on his podcast over on Spotify. And it was just, he had said a couple things that resonated with me, because it stood right in line of where I'm going. If y'all don't know who Gary V is, would I consider myself an influencer? Yeah, absolutely. I influence full-time. I'm a full-time content creator. I never gave myself the influencer title, but that is the title of what I do full-time right now. So yeah, definitely. But Gary V, if y'all don't know who he is, he stay getting folks together. Check him out on Instagram, every single platform. But he had said something on this podcast that now is like 3 years old. And it said the reason you aren't producing more content is because you care more about the opinions of others than your own ambition and happiness. And I was like, woo, it ain't that something, because that is so true. Like, so many of us will hold something, not post something, not do something, and then going along with the grind culture, feel bad about not posting that, not delivering that, not doing all that, because you worry that it's not gonna get likes, or it's not gonna be in line with your brand, or it's not gonna be whatever. When really you just should be posting what you know is true to you, what makes you happy, what you know about, and everything else will come. And lo and behold, he got into this same podcast that he was talking about how if you feel like you ain't succeeding, you need, right after he said that, then it goes right into this grind mentality where he was like, if you feel like you're not succeeding, you ain't posting on 7 to 10 different social media platforms, that's why you're not getting where you want to get as fast as you want to get. And I was just like, well, I just ain't gonna get there as fast. And I had ended up tweeting it, like when Gary V tell you that you need to be posting on 7 to 10 platforms and you exhausted trying to keep up with 3. And I just put like an emoji. He ended up responding to that, y'all. Out of all the stuff I done tagged Gary V in, he has he responded to that. But basically he gave me reassurance. He responded back and he was like, if those are exhausting you, then just do 3. And that has always been my mindset. I know, again, with this whole hustle and grind culture that we're in, we're motivated to be on every single social media platform and making sure that you're creating content on every single social media platform. But I have always been under the impression that 7 to 10 platforms, exactly. And you are welcome, NJ. Thank you so much for supporting me. But exactly, April, 7 to 10 platforms. It's like, I don't even know 7 to 10 platforms. First of all, what's these 10 social media platforms? Because I only know about 5. But I have always been under the notion that I would rather do 3 platforms really well than just put anything out on 10 platforms. And so basically Gary V was he basically gave me reassurance. He said, if you are exhausted doing if 7 to 10 or whatever, just do the 3. And so that just kind of gave me reassurance. You know, I was obviously sure maybe you will move a little bit faster if you are doing 7 to 10 platforms. So there's 10 different platforms that people can find you on. But I've always been under the guise, and if you are watching this, if you feel like right now that by posting on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, what's another one? LinkedIn. What's another one? I don't know. See, I don't even know 10. But if you feel like it's gonna diminish your very first platform, my advice to y'all, if you know, take it with a grain of salt, as somebody who has been doing this for almost 10 years. 10 years actually. You know, and I don't have a biggest platform, but I have seen success. It's number one, don't look at the numbers, because your numbers not determining how much money you make. I guarantee it's the quality of the content and your ability to be good at what you do. That is one thing I can guarantee you. But number 2, if you feel like you stick with the platform that you are seeing the success on, but also that you actually enjoy working on, because if you enjoy working on that platform, you will do well and perform better for that platform. So there's that. I just suggest focusing on what you can do well, and then once you got that on lock, maybe adding on a couple. So there's that. But y'all, okay, so there's my positivity. Let's get into this messiness that I done seen on these internets. Why is these celebrities out here scamming, y'all? Like, the scam put a lamp Pam. First of all, first thing that I saw, which was so funny, because we was just talking, and the reason I wanted to talk about this is because we was just talking on my last live stream, was it, or a couple live streams back, about the Ush books. And we have already came and determined and saw that the girl was kind of being a little dramatic with it. It was a promotional thing. He was throwing the Ush books, you know, out in Vegas to promote his residency in Vegas. And, you know, Vegas, money, gambling. I get it. I said in that live stream, it's cheeky. I'm looking for the post that I'm talking about. It's cheeky, and, you know, I get it. I did see where it could be a little it could be a little tone deaf, you know, just throwing fake money at any point, especially in the situations that we're in. But I got it. And, you know, after finding out that he wasn't actually like throwing the Ush books as actual currency to the dancers, then, you know, I was just like, okay, whatever, it's funny, and Black people gonna make a laughing situation out of anything. But maybe right after that, or maybe 2 days after I did that live on a particular blog site. I don't follow this. It just popped up. I don't follow this blog site, but it popped up in my Explorer, because you know how your phone always be listening. But it's a blog site called On Site, and it popped up and it said, when I used to work in retail, Usher walked in and tried on a $2,000 jacket. He chopped it up for a bit while still having it on. And then this dude dabs me up and walk out with the jacket. And so it had me funny just picturing it, like, you know, trying on a jacket, talking, dap, peace. And he just kind of like, he just Usher walked on out of there. But then it turns into this whole thread, and this post in itself has 25,000 likes, but it goes on and people are responding, and somebody else said, again, we don't know whether or not none of this is true or not, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But it goes on, another person responds and says, Usher was banned from my store for the same ish. And she responded again and said, I feel like I need to clarify, this isn't a current employer. This was 10 years ago in Soho when I worked at the Atrium. He was banned, and so was his ex-wife. He would just steal. She would try to return shit-ish. And she clearly wore, and it was covered in makeup. And somebody said, boy slid out the store. Can y'all see that? And then somebody said, so Usher Raymond is a scammer, tragic. And they said, well, he is from the A. And then there go the little Usher walk, him coming out the store. And somebody said, I've had this happen with $1,000 hoodie. I was like, I guess he just gonna keep it on. He walked around for a bit too. And LP, I don't know who LP is, didn't do a thing. I guess that's management. And then somebody said Usher right after he dapped him up. Y'all, when I say I was weak, and it continues to be stories and stories. April said he moonwalked out the store. Show said he just pieced up the A-Town down right out the store. Somebody said my roommate was a flight attendant. Usher finessed him for a first class seat. He was talking to him, taking selfies, laughing it up while slowly sitting in the first class cabin. So he basically was like, yeah, man. And he just like buckled himself in, and he didn't have a first class ticket, and that has me weak. And they said my roommate got revenge though, because he left a gold chain behind. Well, if you leave something on that plane, it's dead. So, and then somebody said another Usher story with the Boosie meme. So, I'm gonna tell you why this is funny to me. Oh yeah, LP is loss prevention. That makes sense. Loss prevention, duh. I'm gonna tell you why this is funny to me. It's funny to me because I worked in retail for a very long time. And the reason why it was so funny and somewhat believable to me, because if you are somebody who has worked in retail, I am sure, and you guys, please make my day, because today is technically my rest day. So I ain't really supposed to be doing no work or nothing. So I ain't got nothing but time to scroll through the comments and laugh with y'all. Please leave a comment of your craziest retail experience, story, anything that you have ever experienced, because I know I got some hilarious stories. I worked in retail for a very long time. Retail was like my first job, and I worked literally in retail until I got my degree and didn't have to work in retail because my degree wasn't in retail. So and the reason that it's believable, because I know in every retail like situation that I've ever worked in, especially when it comes to loss prevention or stealing, even when it's not a celebrity, we are taught not to chase people, not to run nobody down. If somebody is stealing, it's a whole procedure that you're supposed to do. And number one procedure is to not necessarily like call them. You're supposed to inform a manager or inform loss prevention, inform the security, and they are supposed to handle that. And even if that was never the situation, if y'all just knew my personality when I worked retail, people got on my nerves so bad on retail. I ain't chasing nobody for nothing that you stealing out this store. I ain't finna get snatched up, gripped up, cussed out, nothing for no amount of jacket that, and y'all basically don't want to pay me nothing but minimum wage or maybe a little bit more if you got a little bit more responsibility, and you only making me work like 4-hour shifts and stuff. Like, no. So that's very believable to me, because we let folks walk out with stuff all the time. We're not gonna chase you. And if it's Usher, like, first of all, it's the shock that again, all this is alleged. I don't know, but I'm just saying, if it's me, it's the shock of me being able to sit and chop it up, dap it up with Usher. It's like a celebrity. Most people gonna have like a celebrity moment, and then watching him, knowing that he got money, like knowing that he got the money to pay for it, watching him dip out and like going back and forth with yourself, like maybe I don't want to offend him by accusing him of stealing his jacket. Hopefully, once he walk out, because I mean it might be realistic, but also this that happened a few times according to these stories in a few different places, and they said that they said that him and his wife was doing this, so they had like a alleged whole little scam plan going on. But me, as a like thinking about retail Amber, if Usher walked out of my store with a jacket on, my first thought is gonna be he didn't realize he had it on, you know. So he gonna get down, you know, a little bit, few stores down, and realize that he got it on, and he gonna come back in and bring it back. So I'm not finna chase Usher Raymond down the mall talking about you stole my jacket, because I don't want to be that person who offended Usher, like, or offended somebody. But number two, because I don't want to accuse nobody of stealing, especially also as Black people, we get accused and assumed and all this that we stealing just anyway, just because of, again, white supremacy. And so I just never want to be that. I mean, not saying that no Black people steal, but that just wasn't me. And number two, again, I'm not chasing nobody out of the store for no retail, nothing. Okay. That's not what it is. And most stores tell you don't do that. But then people in the comments made a really good point in that some stores consider that a write-off. Like some stores just don't mind. They let the celebrities, and celebrities are so used to things being given to them, stuff just being free for them just because of who they are, because of the promotion. If they saw them, in their jacket or something like that, some stores are just consider it a write-off and go ahead and write off the purchase, because they're in the I can't wait to read y'all retail stories, because they in the jacket, so they feel like, okay, if Usher walked out of my jacket, then that's free promotion for the store. So that may be what it is as well. But my whole thing is just the fact that he just was like, all right, man. He did it with the employee. Like usually if it's like a celebrity write-off or whatever, like he just was confident that they was gonna let him have it in these stories, allegedly confident that they was just gonna let him have it, that you didn't even go to the register and let them write it off before you left. Like, can we check the tags? Can we get the tag out of it? Can we get the SKU number, whatever, like, so that we can write off the jacket? Like, don't just assume it's free. USHERRAYMOND. Like, that's number one. But it's just like, dang, this man cannot catch a break. But if he doing it, I mean, he didn't caught a lot of breaks, because apparently, like, it's been whole stores apparently saying that they didn't want him back because he didn't moonwalk himself right on out their store with their thing. So that's number one. Let me know if you believe it in the comment section, and let me know if anything has ever happened to you like that while you was working retail, because I'm gonna let you know right now. If I ever go back to work at retail, Usher Raymond moonwalk out of store with something in my store, I'm letting them go. It ain't nobody's store worth, unless it's my store. Ain't nobody worth it to me. But the other story that was really interesting with let me see what y'all talking about. Oh Lord, he passing out them EEEs and them Ush books, but that girl was caught chasing. Yeah. I feel like she was just being dramatic, basically, and she didn't realize how much attention it was gonna have. And but again, I still feel like I understand, like, don't put no money around where I'm picking up my money if I'm a dancer. Like, don't let me misconstrue this as money, and I didn't spent my time, got my knees going and stuff to entertain you, and you done drop some Ush books while I'm picking up my real books. Okay. But she was being dramatic. She was. The crooks definitely know they're not supposed to be chased. Right, Show Will. I feel like the crooks who go in and do this has either worked retail before or know enough about the scamming and the thieving to know that these retail employees not finna chase you, and we're not supposed to chase you. Like, I remember vividly going through loss prevention, core classes and stuff, and they say you're not even supposed to, like one specific store that I worked in for 3+ years, you're not even supposed to let them know that that they stealing. Like, it's a whole phrase, procedure that you're supposed to do, call on the intercom and stuff like that to let your employees know, and possibly say certain things to the person to maybe make them think that you know, but you're not even supposed to directly confront them in a lot of stores. And whatever store y'all working in that's gonna have y'all chasing somebody or putting yourself at possible risk or danger, like especially, you know, where I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, baby. I ain't chasing nobody for nothing, okay? I don't live there no more, but I'm not chasing nobody for nothing, because y'all not finna get me hurt over nothing. Not no $5, $10, $1,000, $2,000. You can have it, because this ain't my store and they don't care about me. Okay. Yeah, people steal the weirdest stuff. You are so right. People even steal underwear. Exactly. Tried to flirt his way out of an Egyptian celebrity tried to flirt his way out of paying for a $70 hat. You almost fell for it. I tell people it's above me. I ain't even got the clearance to give you nothing for free. So you better off trying to steal it and don't let me see it, because I ain't risking nothing, child. He could have at least acted like he was gonna pay it with Ush bucks. He could at least pay for it in Ush bucks. Exactly. I wish I could pin that. Yeah, they said Usher be walking out the store, y'all. That's the tea. But the next tea, and I'm sure y'all have seen this, which also for me is pretty believable, but it's just like the audacity, or better yet, the caucasity of it, is that it has been, as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna say allegedly, just because, you know, we're supposed to say it, but allegedly it has been confirmed that in 2008, Khloe was Brandy's assistant. Again, this was on this site, but this also was on the Shade Room recently. So, but it was like Khloe Kardashian was Brandy's assistant and Kim Kardashian was her stylist, which I remember that we had heard something. I believe that because I want to say that's how Kim and Ray J even met or something like that. So it makes sense. But Brandy's mother, who also, just little fun fact, she was the first momager that we ever heard of. Like, I know that Kris Jenner is now like the face of momager. Ain't that something? When back then the momager that we acknowledged was Brandy's mama, and then later on Ashanti's mama, because momager had been a thing before Kris Jenner. She just ended up momagering $1 billion situation out of a whole bunch of sticky situations. But apparently Brandy's mama sued them for unauthorized charges of over $120K on her credit card. They admitted they used the card to help stock and open up their stores, Dash and Smooch, which if you did watch any of the seasons of Kardashians, because I will say I probably watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians. This how long ago I watched it. Kim was still with Reggie Bush. That's how long ago I watched it. And I literally haven't watched it since. I feel like the last episode I watched was like her navigating her breakup with Reggie. So that should tell you something. But I remember, you know, the Dash and Smooch stores, and apparently they settled out of court. Ain't that something? Like, and I get it, they weren't like their rich sales now, but y'all daddy, they still was rich, as far as I know. Like, y'all daddy was still Rob Kardashian, and he still at this point had, you know, made all this money and stuff like that. So the caucasity of it, to steal from, again, like celebrities just not I guess not having any kind of concept, but you essentially stealing from your employer, and you stealing to fund your own business. Like, well, like if you go steal, I guess like put it towards good cause. But the fact that it was settled out of court makes me believe that it was some truth to it. And it's just so, I don't know. It's just like, first of all, it's just like so messed up. Like, it's just like a bad look. But also I remember vividly watching some kind of interview with Kris Jenner where she was suing like a random person, regular schmegular person, for some kind of like copyright infringement or something. They didn't like what was being said about them. I want to say maybe it was on the Wendy Williams show, but Kris Jenner came out with this whole saying about how she don't care who you are, she gonna sue. And she don't care if you had no money, if you do her wrong, she gonna sue. And she'll, even if you don't have no money, she'll sue you to make sure that when you do make money, it'll be coming to her or whatever. Like she said, she don't care if you broke or not. Because you know, some people like, you so rich, why do it make sense to sue a poor person? And she came out and said she didn't care how much money you had. She'll make sure you never have money. It's just so funny that the momager had to settle out of court with when your kids were stealing. Why you ain't teach your kids not to steal, but y'all suing everybody? Like, that's just strange to me. And so also I feel like I have said this, like, I love Brandy, but I have said this, like, it can be very honest. It can be very obvious to me that even though Brandy is like such a sweet, I feel like Brandy is such a sweet, forgiving, like, I don't really have time for this to hit my energy type of person, but also I can see in Brandy that she really maybe behind the scenes will take it there with you if you make her take it there with you and all this. And it really, like, on the outside looking in, like, had we never heard of this, like, in recent, like, years and years after this, you have seen her be very cordial, very nice, very somewhat forgiving, it seems like, to the entire family, and finding out that you stole I don't know whether or not they stole $120K off of Brandy's card or the mama's card, but either way, you steal from my mama, we still gonna have the same beef. So it's like the fact that she let it go, maybe because, I mean, she probably got her money back plus damages in the settlement or whatever, but I feel like that's kind of big of her, because I feel like she like that in a lot of situations that I have seen, like, not knowing the outside looking in. I feel like I probably need to get on Brandy level, because again, if we talking about if we go on Kris Jenner status, you steal from me. I don't care if it's $100 or $120K or $1 million. If you steal from me, it's always beef on site. Like, it's always like, I don't have nothing else to say, do good to say about you. So there's that. Tell me something. Chandra says, tell me something the Kardashians haven't stole from Black people. I'll wait with you, girl, because Jason Weaver from the Lion King. What about him? Because I love me some Jason Weaver. They've been gone through Papa. Show Will says they've been gone through Papa Kardashian's money a long time ago. That's sad. That's really sad, because Rob Kardashian seemed like the type that would have made sure that he left. Yeah. Superstar Bella is exactly what I was finna say. Superstar Bella says Rob Kardashian left them hella money. He made it so Rob never has to work. Right. So right. So it's like, why would y'all even need to, like, in the money, in my mind, that I'm thinking that Rob would have left his children, and in the mind that I'm thinking just in general that they would have even had at the time, like, stealing $120K to me just seems like entitlement. To me just seems like petty behavior. You had this card, so why not spend their money instead of spending your money? Not even like the we need the money type situation. It's just, why spend mine when I can spend yours? Little did they know, like I said, Brandy's mama is the original momager, and I'm sure there wasn't very much that got past her, if anything. Show Will says Crispy just trying to grab bags by any means necessary. And I agree with that. And to a certain extent, it's like, yeah, get your money. But the part that gets real distasteful, I feel like, to Black people. And again, here we go. Like, one of the subjects that I wanted to talk about in this live is this whole new concept apparently on Twitter. Like, Twitter, I feel like people, And here's the thing, like I hate I even fed into it, and I really didn't, but I just feel like it was a good conversation because I had braids in. What we have to understand now is that Twitter people say the weirdest things for reactions, like the whole debate about whether or not you should be washing your legs and washing your feet, and debate that people want to have every other week about how people pay bills in their households. And then you got the LLC Twitter, and then you got the renting versus the mortgage Twitter, and then you got the spaghetti or the sugar in the spaghetti debate and all this. I feel like people just say things because they know it's gonna get a whole bunch of tweets and reactions out of it. And so the whole weird thing on Twitter going on right now is the fact that braids are apparently basic, and somehow we've got to the point where braids are not a birthday hairstyle. And if y'all think I ain't finna wear braids for my birthday next week, y'all crazy. May still be these braids because these ain't went old yet. But this whole concept that now braids are basic, yet we have let women like the Kardashians come in and appropriate stuff to our culture, where it's like braids may seem basic to you, but let's go back to braids are very much ingrained in who Black people are. Braids are very much ingrained in our culture. We have found ways at every stage to not only find ways to get like going back, like Kenya Barris said, I can take everything back to slavery if you give me time. But this one's real easy. Going back to slavery and understanding how cornrows played a role in slaves escaping, sending messages to each other. They used to braid rice and other things into their hair so that they wouldn't starve on their journeys. Things like that is the primary reason why Black people have a problem with other non-Black cultures appropriating our hairstyles. But the main thing is that they will then create a style, or not create a style, but they will then wear a hairstyle created by Black women, but the media will portray it as this new trend created by the Kardashians. And I remember, a few years ago when Khloe Kardashian came out and with the thinnest looking Bantu knots that I had ever seen, child. And all of a sudden it was this new style that Khloe was creating, this trend when Black women have not only been wearing, but have been mocked and ridiculed for wearing Bantu knots for years, if not decades. I know to this day, there are many Black women who do not feel comfortable wearing their hair in Bantu knots. Like, they like Bantu knot outs, but they don't feel comfortable wearing their hair in the actual Bantu knots because they feel like they'll be judged or they'll be stereotyped or it won't be deemed as professional in their workplace or wherever they're going. And just certain things that are made trendy. And then now Black women are being called basic, or there is not certain styles don't go with everything for styles that we literally it's steeped into our culture. Like, Black women wear braids for so many more reasons than to appear to be a baddie to you. That's number one. Me as a Black woman, I told you guys this in a previous live stream that I did. Right now, braids have absolutely been a form of therapy for me, because my therapy towards the end of 2021 and definitely going into this year, not only seeing a therapist, but also taking care of my body, my hair being in braids and not having to worry about doing my hair, but also not just so much goes into it when you are a natural hair influencer and being defined by, a certain way that you wear your hair. It has been very freeing to me to be able to do my own braids, number one, but be able to just protect my hair. Like, we wear our hair for protective styles. That's number one. But being able to not have to think about my hair and being able to wear my hair in a protective style and being able just to get up and not have to focus on anything but taking care of my body has been everything to me. So for it to be this debate, and again, like, it's just like, it's also a deeper level to it, to where I have felt like this for a long time, and I have spoke on this back when Snapchat was a thing. If y'all remember when, I remember the puppy dog filter on Snapchat, and primarily like women like to use it or whatever. And I started to notice it then, but I feel like particularly, and some of y'all not gonna like when I say this, but I'm gonna say it because it's live stream, it's the cookout, and I told y'all in the cookout we gonna lay it on the table and keep it real. Primarily, I feel like since social media and it started with Snapchat, Black men in particular have this obsession with trying to humble and demean Black women. And anytime that a certain type of Black man, because I'm not going to say all Black men because I don't deal with Black men like that. I only deal with Black men that uplift me. But it's a certain type of Black men, and you all have seen them on social media, that the minute that Black women seem to really be enjoying themselves with a particular trend or a particular fashion or a particular way that we like to wear our hair, Black men, or those specific Black men, are obsessed with humbling Black women, like, or trying to like take our joy from something. Like the minute that Black women got into the puppy dog filter, certain type of Black men started calling it the hoe filter. Oh, this the hoe filter. If you do. And one thing about me, I don't give a damn. Your mama's a hoe. Excuse me. Forgive me, lie. But one thing about me, I don't care. You know, so you calling me or anybody, but let alone a stranger, I ain't never been like bothered by that. So when it came, the whole thing came, when the whole thing popped up where girls who did the puppy dog filter was revealing themselves to be hoes or whatever, I kept using it. And in fact, I used it more because you ain't gonna say it to my face. That's number one. You're not actually gonna say it to me. But number two, I'm comfortable with who I am, so I don't gotta prove myself to nobody. But number three, your mama. Okay. So it started there, and ever since then it has been just this continuing trend. Then it was, let's get on to women for wearing wigs and wearing lace fronts. And then it was, let's get on to women if they want to lay their baby hairs and all this. And so it's one thing as women, we have learned to ignore men and ignore their ignorance and all this. But it's another thing then what that did was it piqued this specific crop of women then who want to appear to please a certain type of Black men. And, you know, we call them the what? The pick-me's, that then appear to go along with this same stupid line of thinking that a woman has any reason to do what she's doing for anybody but you. Like, if you think that a woman, or white supremacy, let me say that, because white supremacy has dictated how a lot of women move, unfortunately, because otherwise a lot of us would not be able to move until times change, move into certain positions of authority, power, and corporate America with wearing our hair a certain way, because we know we have been stigmatized because of our hair. So I'll say that. But primarily, for anybody to think that a Black woman does anything to her hair for anybody other than herself, you was crazy. But it's this particular crop of pick-me women who wanted to start agreeing. And now it's like, I cringe every time I see a Black woman make a grandiose assumption about other Black women and how they choose to wear their hair. Like, it is so cringy to me, because that Black woman has a way that she likes to wear her hair, and it makes perfect sense to her. But then in her mind, it makes perfect sense to her to get on this same stage and speak about these, how these men be speaking, because you trying to look cool or cute or funny to them. So you will join on. I will never, and please immediately, like, okay, some things are funny. Like I don't get offended when people talk about baby hairs, because it's like, if you that invested in somebody brushing the front of their hair down, like it's really a you issue, not me. Some things be funny, but one thing I will never do, and please have me delete whatever I wrote immediately if it ever is that situation. I'm never gonna agree or chime in, jump in, buddy, trying to jump in with a man who think that he has a right to say anything about what a woman wears, says, or does. Like, you know, like makeup, how much makeup we should wear, how we should wear our hair, whether or not our natural hair is okay for every occasion, whether or not natural hair is for everybody, whether or not braids are basic, whether or not certain filters should be used, whether, you know, like, Never. Never. But it's certain people who think it's cute and think that when they jump in and agree with these men for these certain statements, that somehow that puts you at a level above or make you a different type of woman than the woman that you're talking about. It do make you a different type of woman than the woman you're talking about, but not in the way that you hoping for. It just yells loud and clear that you're trying to get the bottom barrel at that, the bottom barrel of the type of dude that to pick you. That's the type of dude that you want to pick you. And it's like, we not the same anyway. So I don't care. I don't care nothing about what you're saying or agreeing with, but that's the part that makes it so perplexing and such an interesting conversation for me to have, because on the one hand, this whole concept of braids being basic now, it's like, where did that come from? Number two, it's never quote unquote basic when it's on your non-black faves. It's like a trend or whatever, and it's like, like stab, but number two is like, a lot of these feelings be coming from men who got two hairstyles. They got the brush cut and the hat. The hat be a whole hairstyle for them. Like Negroes, I'm trying to keep it live friendly, really be hat fishing. And so these be the same ones who you ain't never seen without a fitted on their head, because they be hat fishing, want to talk about what girls do. It's like, please get your hat game up for the summer and leave me alone. Now they're talking about the whole bags. Girl, what's the whole bags? Tell me which bag it is so I can go ahead and buy me one. Okay? Please tell me. Self-hate is a hell of a drug, and a lot of them hate their own mothers. And that is the real tea. Like, a lot of these men be having quote unquote preferences and all these things to say about Black women, and the Black woman you describe and be your Black mama. And that's why I always say that, like, point number one, but number two, your mama. Like, that's just what it is, your mama, because I guarantee whatever you internalizing got to do with your mama. And they'll make all these posts, and that'll be the funny thing. They'll be Mr. Funny Ha Ha all week, and then on Mother's Day, that's when we see the real tea, when they post they MVP, and it's like, your MVP look exactly like everybody who you be dogging. So it's like, you really taking after your daddy who ain't treating your mama right. This is all anti-Black American hairstyles, and baby hairs are part of Black American culture. Exactly. Like, and then it's even turned into this thing from a different type of person where it's like, oh, somehow if you lay your baby hairs, it's self-hate. And it's like, is it though? Because I feel like a bad deep with my edges laid, okay? Like, you talking about self-hate, and I'm loving it, okay? Like, and I feel that same way whether or not my edges are laid. I don't understand. Like, we are in a society now, maybe people had these same opinions back in the day and we just didn't know because the internet didn't exist. But I remember, like, I feel like that's why 90s is one of my favorite genres or favorite eras for not only music, but fashion, TV, and everything. Mainly because I feel like we got to see so many different levels, or so many different types of Black women loving themselves and expression of Black women. We got to see all kinds of hairstyles, and people say like natural hair definitely needed the movement. Like, don't get me wrong. But in the 90s, we definitely had people who rocked their natural hair. We just may not readily bring them to mind. Like, we had people like the Lauryn Hills. We had, of course, yes, it was a certain type of natural hair that was only being put out there, like certain curl patterns, which we needed the natural hair movement to happen to realize that it's not this specific curl pattern that is the beauty of natural hair, but people being confident in rocking their natural hair all together. And I just think about, everybody wear, like, next thing y'all gonna say, I said this on Twitter, next thing y'all gonna say French rolls is self-hate, when you know your mama and your auntie and probably your grandma was rocking them French rolls, okay? We had the French rolls, we had the locks, we had the braids, we had the straight. We had the perm rod sets. We had all these different bump and curl sets and stuff going on. Like, it was so many different ways. Like, Black women literally have always expressed themselves with their hair. And I feel like I love to see a good baby hair expression, because to me it's art. Like, I literally look at somebody who spent time and like did the little swoops and stuff. Like, that is a hairstyle. Like, it's a hairstyle, and whether or not you want to wear your hair like that has nothing to do with you loving yourself more than that person. You just don't want to wear that hairstyle. Like, it's plenty of hairstyles that I think look good on somebody else that I wouldn't wear. That don't mean that I feel like that person who wearing their hairstyle hate themselves. It just mean that, you know, I like hairstyles. And I feel like now we have become so strong in our opinions and so invested in our way of thinking that we think that anybody who does something different must not love themselves. And it's like, it's exhausting. I don't know if y'all feel that way, but it's exhausting to me, okay? It just exhausts me, okay? Have a friend, she won't wear her natural hair to work because it's unprofessional. Exactly. And I feel like a part of that, like them people, I feel like you have to have April Ray said that she has a friend who won't wear her natural hair to work because she feels like it's unprofessional. And in those situations, I feel like you just have to have a conversation and have grace with people, because it wasn't necessarily anything that they taught themselves. It's what white supremacy has taught us. And we definitely have been in situations, I know I have in the past, where I have felt like my natural hair wouldn't be accepted. I would wear a bun to the interview and a wash and go on the first day. I remember vividly when I wanted to work in a bank for my interview, being very paranoid about how I was going to wear my hair to the interview. But by day one, my natural hair was out. Once you give me that job, you're not going to tell me how to wear my hair. That's just how I was. But in the interview, you feel away because you know that people, even though you have grown, you know, a lot of people's perception of what professionalism is hasn't changed. And so with those, I feel like it's just going to take us speaking up more. Laws are being changed. People are being called out on it more. And I feel like that is just something that we're going to continuously have to push back on, and also lovingly educate people, lovingly get people together, because it's certain stuff like what I just said, like, I'm not really going to like take the time. If you just being a pick me, I'm not going to take the time to lovingly correct you. I'm just going to let you be wrong by yourself. But I do feel like it's a degree of, what's the word? Condescending that people have gotten into the habit of. When we're trying to correct somebody, we do it in a condescending way for likes or retweets, or because it sound, you know, snazzy, jazzy. And it's a time and a place for that. And then it's a time and a place not for that. And so if it's somebody that you really care about, or if it's something, a topic that you really care about, like really taking the time to think about how you're delivering your message, because I don't care how good the message is, if you condescending me when you give it, it's gonna be real hard for me to receive it. And so taking the time to have real conversations with people, and like understanding where they come from, and being able to lovingly convict somebody to do something better versus like condescendingly condemn somebody. Like, it's a difference between convicting somebody and not convicting like in a court, but like if you know from a believer, or just like the root stem of the word, like to convict somebody to make them inside themselves feel a conviction to do better, versus condemn somebody and make them feel like ashamed or lesser than, or like you're better, you know, condemn, like lowering them, knocking them down a peg. I do feel like, again, with social media, we have gotten to a place where a lot of people don't take the time to do that. And I have been in situations myself where I've caught myself like saying stuff like, because it's snatchy and catching. It's like they probably couldn't receive it that way, because so just being able to look within yourself in certain situations. But yeah, not saying that you wasn't, April girl. I'm just saying the spend a night bag. Oh yes, I do want me a spend a night bag, even though my man spend a night with me every night, because we be, you know, I love a good shack little shacking the situation going on. But you know, I like to spend the night. I saw him and it was cute. I didn't want the one necessarily with the D word on it just because I don't speak that way. Like my friend, it don't even sound like something I would say. But it was a couple of them that said something else real cute and cheeky that I was like, yeah, I get that just because I know Negroes gonna have a problem with it. Not my Negro, because like I said, I don't mess with Negroes that would have a problem with something as simple as that. But I thought it was funny. People act like Black Americans don't have any culture. We have plenty of, yes, we literally, Superstar Bella said, people act like Black Americans don't have any culture. We have plenty of culture. We made it into nothing. We literally created our culture. Like, we are one of the only specifically Black Americans. We are one of the only cultures that completely almost came from nothing. Like, some of the original enslaved people, of course, had memories and things of their cultures that they were able to pass down to their children. But the majority of Black culture has been rooted in us creating it ourselves. And so everything that you see appropriated from Blacks in America, or the majority of everything, comes from a culture that we created. African-American vernacular English, we created that, and it is something that is we see botched and spoken and stolen by almost everybody. Like, it is so crazy to me to see the caucasity of people speaking in AAVE as they're trying to school us on why they not appropriating our culture as you're appropriating our culture. It is the funniest thing ever to me. I literally have watched a number of videos like that. Why Try to Be Me said I had a Black manager who told me my natural hair was unprofessional. I've definitely experienced that. Yeah, now once you get in that job, baby, with whatever kind of hair you want, child. Of course, they send a Black manager. Exactly. Yes. Hi, my 20s in. Hey, 20 twin. She said, I always miss these lives. You click on the YouTube and my beautiful twin is like, I love you. I love you too. We talked about you earlier, girl. I can't remember what we said, but I talked about when we went to that Knicks event, if you're still in the live, and how I'm wearing, literally, I have been hooked on that skin tint that we went to together since. I have repurchased it so many times, and I like it because I fluctuate between 3 different colors, and I'll put all the colors that I use in the description in the comment section or something. For those of y'all who was wondering, so y'all know the colors. Right now, I'm using the second to darkest color because your girl got a tan. Your girl got a tan. Your girl got a tan when she went to Cabo. So, and it works very, very well for me. Raina said it's bomb. Like, they put us on when they gave us that. Yeah, it's very sad. She walked around in an I Dream of Jeannie ponytail that should have been thrown away a long time ago, talking about her manager. So yeah, it's just like, you know, with a lot of things, like, it's sad how people would project stuff that they haven't even dealt with onto us. Like, you need to be dealing with why you feel the need to wear your I Dream of Jeannie ponytail, as one of our cousins said. So yeah, that is one thing I want to talk about. And it's just like I mentioned on my Instagram, whatever you are serving, whatever you are giving, it's about your aura. It's not about your hairstyle. If you a real baddie, it's your baddie aura. You gonna be a baddie with braids, with your natural hair, with your straightened, with a relaxer, with a lace front, with some locks, whatever, because when I think about a true baddie, I think about somebody who can rock whatever she's in because she has the confidence in knowing that it's her, not the style. So, yeah. The last thing that I wanted to touch on this live, because I told you guys I like to begin with something positive, then we get in all the little messy tea stuff, aka Moonwalk Usher and the Carskamians. But last, I want to end with something positive as well. And I mentioned in the title, and that is speaking on Black issues, Black Trauma TV. And so again, it has been this thing, and I do agree with it to a certain extent, where it's like the trend has been Black trauma and making it entertainment, like as if Black people don't really live with this every single day of our lives. Like, and I feel like, again, it is a thing where white people are capitalizing on something. Jordan Peele created his own genre when he started the whole Get Out thing. And ever since then, it has been this whole thing where let's make entertainment on Black trauma. And they have taken it and they have just gone super far with it. And yes, it was before Jordan Peele. Like, we have seen a lot of Black trauma movies, some of them based on true stories and some of them not, but it was very prevalent to me that we are the only people who are necessarily experiencing the trauma factor when we watch these things, because for other people, non-Black people, people who Caucasians and white people and all that, they are only experiencing the entertainment factor, and it may be like a little sympathy there, but it's not empathy because they can't understand where we're coming from, and it's not on the level that we experience it. It's entertainment for them. And so that's what made me, I have, like, growing up, some of y'all know this, I was so interested in African-American culture primarily because of my grandmother and because of my father. They very much so, especially growing up in the South, very much so educated me on a lot of things that I almost majored in African-American studies in college, but then I thought I couldn't get no job. But so, like, growing up, I was very into watching historical films, Jim Crow films, even like slavery films. I read a lot of slave journals. I read a lot of things, and it wasn't necessarily traumatizing for me. One, because I was so young and I really hadn't tapped into kind of feeling what my ancestors may have felt. And even when I would talk to my mother at the time, like, she would always tell me she didn't like to watch stuff like that. She didn't want to relive stuff like that. My parents are born in the 60s. And it's so much so that it is very telling, because even my dad, he has like Negro on his birth certificate. So like you can definitely tell like the age gaps and stuff like that. But my mom said she didn't like to watch stuff like that. It made her too angry. It made her want to walk around hating white people. And for me, at the time, I couldn't understand it. I was like, but we have overcome so much, and like this should be a triumph story. And to see where we are then, like, I didn't understand it, but I totally understand it now. In the sense that once you have, especially with everything going on in America right now, once you constantly live through the everyday trauma of being a Black person, it is not necessarily entertainment for you to watch all these stories and films and movies on real, not only real situations, but just stuff that you have to go through every day. Is just re-traumatizing. And also just the thought for me that in any kind of way there's a white person watching this getting entertainment out of something that literally terrifies me and something that I have to deal with and think about every single day, it kind of like makes me sick to my stomach. That, and especially if it's a racist watching and getting enjoyment out of watching, even if this is a fictionalized film of Black people being treated away, like I noticed that it started to disgust me. I started to get sick at my stomach by it. And so I had kind of just, for my own mental health, starting with the uprising last year, just kind of started not watching stuff like that. Just because it was re-traumatizing me. And so on Twitter, it was this recent like thread that said it's only a movie, and then the movie, and it was supposed to be like a movie that was only a movie, but it made you cry. And the gist of it was supposed to be people reposting movies that were like Finding Nemo or Moana, like, Coco, like Coco. Well, we found out that was Disney do what Disney be doing and stealing folks' story and not giving them no credit for it and completely rewriting history. But that's a whole nother lie for a whole nother day. But in the gist of it, like, those were the ones that were kind of funny to watch, like, because Coco messed me up every time. That is one of my favorite movies. Hey, Faye. One of my favorite movies, and it messes me up every time. But those were the ones that were like funny and like relatable to watch. But then that's when it really made me start thinking, because I started to see white people and then Black people not realizing what they were reposting or kind of understanding. White people were reposting movies based on true stories, talking about it's only a movie, but they're crying. It's like, it wasn't only a movie. Like Fruitvale Station, somebody used that as an example. No, that was based on somebody who really lost their life due to white supremacy and police brutality. And then they was reposting stuff like Just Mercy, and then they were reposting stuff like Selma. And it's like, wait a minute. This is where I'm seeing the disconnect. I am seeing where we are putting out these movies and directors are wanting to put out these movies on Black trauma, and Black people are the only one who are really resonating with the trauma, and a lot of other people are only seeing it as entertainment. And so it kind of made it put stuff in perspective to me, to where it's like, I am not against what anybody wants to watch, because everybody has a different threshold and tolerance for everything, right? So again, like I said, if you're just coming into the live, when I was younger, I did like to watch a whole bunch of stuff like that because I was needing to be educated. Now that I'm educated and now that I'm adult and I live things like this, and I don't need to be educated on it, it's not the same for me. So I'm not against those movies. I'm just feeling like it's not a situation where every Black person needs to watch. And so then it turned into this conversation where people were saying, oh, well, we live in a time where it's either Black trauma TV or it's corny TV. And Issa Rae was the only person who ever put out anything that gave an accurate depiction of the Black experience recently that isn't corny or isn't trauma. And it's like, first of all, big ups to Issa, because she is in her own lane when it comes to creating things that depict the Black experience that aren't super heavy, that we can just enjoy seeing stories about Black people that aren't surrounded around our trauma. But she isn't the only one. And I feel like the problematic part of this stems back to kind of what we were talking about with the braids, in the fact that like, we are so quick to be super judgmental of our own. And it's a situation where there are tons of examples of Black television or non-trauma Black television and things that are being created by Black people that aren't trauma. The trauma is just the only one that gets solidified, either because people are talking about it because they don't want to see it, or people are talking about it because it's traumatizing or whatever, or, because it's a trending topic. But there are so many things that's being created by Black creators that people just call corny. And it's like, what it is now is that it's not that those things aren't being created. It's just that you think everything is corny if it's not a certain depiction of cool. Like, and that's a whole nother conversation to have as a Black person. And what made people forget, what made Issa Rae so popular and relatable in the beginning, was that she was the awkward Black girl. She wasn't cool. She wasn't this definition of what a cool Black person or your typical Black person or Black girl with swag and all this should be. Like, that was so relatable about her, is that she was, awkward. And it's so many things, so many television shows out there that I personally enjoy watching that so many people consider corny, or they don't give it a chance because it's not talking about these certain topics, or it don't have this like drama, violence, cool Black person factor to it. Like, if it's not a Snowfall or a Power, a lot of people are calling it corny, when it's like, y'all are asking for positive Black things to watch, but y'all not giving it a chance because it's corny, and we're not used to just being able to sit and laugh at corny things like we used to. Like, if you go back and watch stuff like I recently have been watching the Wayans brothers, and like, it's corny, but it's like, what a relief it is to sit and just watch something that's corny. Like, and again, I am that Black person who like is quote, I don't like to use the term different, because there's so many Black girls out there just like me. We just have to separate ourselves because stuff is called corny. Like, I do sit and watch anime. I sit and watch cartoons all day. Y'all, if y'all follow me and watch my Instagram stories, y'all know that's a lot of the stuff that I watch, just because that's therapy for me. That is, I love to sit and watch the anime, but also I sit and watch corny Black stuff. Like, for example, y'all be so tired of Kenya Barris making TV shows and stuff like that, because it does seem like all his shows have the same premise, and that I do get. But it's like, on the one hand, he just writing about what he know, his life, that's the only thing he feel like he good at, or maybe that's the only thing he wants to talk, and it's successful, so he's not gonna break the bears, or break the Success Chain or whatever, but like stuff like Blackish, stuff like the Netflix version of it, what was it, Wokish or whatever it was, stuff like that, that's just like just plain calm TV, stuff like Family Reunion on Netflix, you know, just a whole bunch of different shows I could name. Black Lady, that Black Lady sketch show on HBO, which is a lot raunchier than some of the other shows I just named. But stuff like that is constantly being put out, but Black people are calling it corny, as if there isn't like the stuff being put out. And so another example of this that I wanted to end it with, because I really want y'all to give it a try, is Dad Stop Embarrassing Me on Netflix. It is by Jamie Foxx. And Jamie Foxx, just recently watched the Jamie Foxx show from beginning to end, which is one of my old favorite 90s to 2000s Black shows. Jamie Foxx has always been hilarious to me. But I feel like a lot of people aren't going to give that show a chance because of the quote unquote corny factor. Oh, The Carmichael Show was a great Black TV show. If you want just a relaxing Black TV show that also still deals with current events, still talks about the Black experience, The Carmichael Show, I believe, is still streaming on Hulu and maybe some other platforms. Carmichael Show is great TV watching if you just need something to decompress. But back to Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, I feel like a lot of people are not going to give it a chance because it still has that same corny factor. And it's like, we didn't do that to our Black shows back in the 90s. Why it was people saying why it was so many Black shows in the 90s and there isn't now, because we didn't pick them apart like that. Like In Living Color was kind of corny, but it was like the decompress. Like it was cool to see not only Black faces, but to see like the start of like Jim Carrey and all these other people who end up being like huge, seeing all these people come together and just make fun of everybody, just make fun of everything and just not take themselves so seriously and things like that. I feel like we so hard on like, and again, like we are so quick to call a certain Black person or a certain Black perspective corny, when it's like these same people who will say that, be the same people advocating for Black people. Any kind of Black is Black, but you calling the Black that don't fit your level a cool corny. And so I feel like a lot of people not going to necessarily give Dad Stop Embarrassing Me a chance because of the corny factor, when it really could be an opportunity for you not to watch Black trauma, for you to watch something that you could just decompress and laugh at stupid stuff. And for me, I just want to go ahead and say this, and I want to talk about it because we don't even realize how steeped into our trauma and how quick on the onset of trauma can hit you. Because when I first started watching Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, I almost didn't finish it, and I almost was gonna click it off and didn't watch it because if you don't know, it's a show on Netflix. It stars Jamie Foxx, and it was created by his daughter and executive produced by his real daughter, I believe. And a lot of the story imitates his real life. If you aren't aware, like the fact that his dad was in prison and comes to live with him, I'm almost positive that's a true situation. And just a whole bunch of other things. It does have the degree of Jamie Foxx that we're used to, him doing characters and him just kind of being goofy. It also stars David Alan Grier, which was good seeing Jamie and David back together because they were on In Living Color together. But I almost didn't watch it because Jamie has a white best friend who is a cop. And I'm just going to be honest, that the space that I'm in right now is not necessarily the space where I was interested in seeing any. The only cops I recognize in my life right now is SVU. Okay. The only cops that I watch. Okay. And now with Organized Crime with Elliot Stabler. Okay. So I just usually am not in a space to really want to watch any kind of storylines that include police officers, because it's very triggering to me. And especially I just felt like it was going to be kind of tone deaf, especially it didn't add up to me because I know how vocal Jamie Foxx has been on the subject of police brutality and how white supremacy plays a part in that. And to give him a white best friend, I was like, is this just to appease the writers? Is this just to, make it white people friendly? I really wasn't feeling it, and it seemed like they really weren't addressing it like it was his childhood best friend. But without giving anything away, if you feel that way, if you started watching that show, because even Tej said that he started watching it with me, and he ended up not finishing the end because he had to go do a shoot or something. But he didn't even say it to me, but I ended up mentioning it to him after I finished it, and he was like he felt the exact same way, but he didn't want to say anything. He's like he felt kind of uncomfortable seeing the white cop. Please, please, please keep watching. Keep watching. It will all make sense. It will all it will all like tie in together in the last episode 8. And it is a very specific, like, and I want to give y'all time to watch the show and then have a conversation about it maybe like a week from now. Just give majority of people, it's only 8 episodes, like 25 minutes an episode, I believe. So you definitely can binge it in one day or a weekend. Even if you start watching it now, you probably be done with it by tomorrow or Monday. And so there's a very specific message in that, and it is very intelligently done and so deeper level in how they handle the show. Is called Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, for those of y'all who are wondering. The show is a Jamie Foxx show. It's like number 1 or number 2 in the top 10 on Netflix right now. It's very specific and strategic the way that they did it, and I love it. I loved it. And it helped me come into grips with the stuff that I was feeling throughout the episode. Like, why is this man a cop? Y'all could have made him anything else. Like, and this is coming from somebody whose dad was a public servant. My dad is a retired fireman, so my daddy definitely worked for the city. Like, but you don't never hear people saying, you know, firemen be being racist. I mean, they do. And that's the thing. Like, it's steeped in everything. But I think we have to address the fact that there's a real issue going on with the policing system stemming from how it was even originally created. And so that was the issue. Like, sometimes you kind of be too woke. Like, woke, I hate using that word, but sometimes you kind of be too woke to enjoy certain shows. It is absolutely the truth. Like, sometimes you just learn too much that you can't enjoy certain things. And I feel like starting off the show, that's how I was, but it will all make sense by the end of the show. I promise. Just keep watching to the last episode if you are one of those people who had an issue with that. And I want to discuss, just break down the season finale of Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. So if this is your first time on my channel, make sure that you subscribe. I don't even tell people turn the notifications on no more, but if you want to, you can. But I definitely will be breaking down the season finale of Dad Stop Embarrassing Me because I think it was very intelligently written. Also, there was another show that I wanted to say that was a good watch. That was a Black show. I don't know if I remember. I'll put it in the comments as well because I'm going to be ending this live pretty soon. But I will say that I did go back and finally watch Lovecraft Country. It was something that I had been avoiding watching for that same reason. I'm not going to be watching them. I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm just going to pass on that one for a number of reasons. But I had stayed away from Lovecraft Country for that reason. And then I went back and watched it. And Lovecraft Country didn't necessarily bother me like I thought it would. I'm a big sci-fi geek, big sci-fi buff, and I liked the fact that, yes, it was like racism definitely played and white supremacy definitely played a storyline role in Lovecraft Country. But what I liked was that we were able to give specifically the role of the mama. I can't think of her name, the one who hair turned purple. I love the way that they approached her storyline, and just that Black people don't get storylines like that often, just where we just are celestial beings and just different worlds and aliens and all this different stuff. I really like that. And that's what I feel like Black people are saying. Like, they feel like, can we just get roles where we don't have to deal with Hippolyta? Yes. Where we don't have to deal with Black trauma. So it's like they definitely dealt with Black trauma in Lovecraft Country. But what people are saying is, can we get like the Hippolyta role without the Black trauma in it? You know what I mean? And so I get that part. But what I'm saying is there are so many Black TV shows out there that do give you that, but y'all just calling them corny, basically. And you just have to give it a chance and be able to give yourself free yourself from that corny entrapment, okay? Like, free yourself from it. Because I feel like I lived in that cage for a long time, trying to be cool, trying to be trendy, trying to, not be considered lame or corny. And the biggest thing you can do is free yourself from that lie. Let yourself be whatever you want to be, and you can be a whole bunch of different things over the span of your day. Like, free yourself from having to be hip and all that. Like, you can't even be corny in your own house watching a TV show. Like, you so concerned with whether or not people think you corny or cool that you can't even watch a TV show. Like, that's the part that we really have to free ourselves from. We seeking approval from people in simply the shows that we enjoy to watch. Like, and that ain't me. Like, I'm gonna sit and watch a corny TV show all day long, because for my mental health, I need it. Like, I literally need to just be able to laugh just because something is stupid and funny versus just always happen. Like, I gotta be on my 10 toes down in every other aspect of my life the minute that I step outside my front door, the minute that I present myself on social media. And it feels good to not have to be that in the entertainment that I watch. So I really wanted to end it on that note, and just allowing yourself to have joy, whether it's corny joy or cool joy, letting yourself have that and giving stuff a chance. And for y'all to stay tuned and look forward to me hopefully being able to sit and break down the season finale of Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. In the regular comments, I always say at the end of this video, if you haven't liked the video already, make sure to give this video a thumbs up so YouTube don't disappear me from your life. And leave a comment in the real comment section. Let me know some of your favorite non-trauma Black shows that you watch, even if they are corny. Maybe I watched it myself, but I'm always looking for more. I love you guys so much. And as always, I will see you guys in the next upload sooner than you